So today we're going to talk about orthographic projections. This is part one of two. Um, orthographic projection is a means of representing three-dimensional objects in two dimensions. So it's a form of parallel projection in which all of the projection lines are orthogonal to the projection line. Explain as we go along. Here's some examples. Basically, you'll have your three-dimensional shape right here and right here. And in order to do an orthographic projection, you need to have three views. So usually a top, front, and side, which we see here also. Here's some symbols that are used in the orthographic projection, which we'll get into a little bit further on as the slides go through and the video continues. So orthographic drawings require the three views which I mentioned earlier, front, top, and side. The three views combined show us the overall drawing of what we're looking for. So if we look at the drawing below, we can see a three-dimension isometric projection and its three 2D orthographic views. So if we take a peek at this here, here's our three-dimensional isometric projection. So we can see the cube with the cylinder on top. Now, if we were to take a look at this from the top, so if you picture yourself up here looking down on top of this, this would be your view. Right? So say we called this the front here. So this is the front part of the isometric. So if we're standing here looking at this directly on, this would be our front view. Okay? And if we're over here, if we call this the side view, this would be our view here. We'd be standing here looking at this, and this would be what we see and what we draw. If it helps you any, all the shades of blue are just a little bit different, right? This shade matches this shade matches this shade, and this shade matches this shade. So you need to have the three views in order to get an idea of the isometric projection. As we look over here, we have elbows and T's and how they're drawn in the orthographic projection. So here we have a basic half-inch copper elbow. It's known as a 90, and I'll refer to this as an elbow or a 90 as we go. So if you hear me say elbow or 90, we're dealing with the same thing. So now let's take a look at the three views on this, right? So let's just say this is the front view. Here's our top view. And let's say this is our side view. So you draw the front view like this. See how we have a dot in the middle of a circle. And then you draw the side view would be like this down the bottom. Right? Because this is your view looking at it. So all you would basically see is the pipe coming up and the pipe going across. And there it is there. Okay? And then finally we have the top view. So with the top view, we have this rounded part here. Now you notice it's not a fully closed circle. And that would be this section here, the 90. And then this part here, there'd be a pipe in here. And that would be this. Now these here slashes that you see are called hubs. H-U-B-S. And hubs are basically this part of the fitting. So that's what they're representing. So what symbol would you use in the chart to draw the top view? Right there. So say we're looking at this entire drawing, and you've got to ask yourself, what exactly is happening in this drawing? So the top view means you're not necessarily standing right here looking at it right here. You could be up here looking down on the entire thing. Okay, so I often say to students, from the top view, just imagine yourself floating in the clouds looking down on this. And you have to ask yourself, what is this 90? What is this elbow actually doing? So we look from here, it's turning away from the viewer. Comes along here, it turns down. So therefore, you would need an elbow directed away from the viewer. And this is how you would draw it. So say we want to do the side view. Okay, so again, unlike up here, you can float around and you can draw this in any way really, but they have to look like this. But the side view, you'd be standing here, your feet are down here and your head's up here and you're looking directly at this. So what's happening with this elbow? The pipe's coming up and it's turning away from you. So it's the same drawing, an elbow directed away from the viewer. What symbol would you use in the chart to draw the front view? Now think about it for a second, and you have to ask, what is that 90 doing? Is that 90 coming to me, going away from me, or is it flat to me, meaning it's coming straight across in front of me? Any ideas? Well, this is how you would draw it. It's just flat to the viewer, as I like to say. Okay, so let's draw the front view of this isometric drawing. Right, so we basically have, from the front view, we have two elbows directed away from the viewer, here and here. Remember, you're standing here, your feet are on the ground, you're standing up, your head's up here, you're looking directly onto this. So here and here are your 90s. The question is, would you be able to see these lines? Now remember, you're even though the arrow here is showing your front view, you're looking at everything dead on. Okay, as if you're standing right in front of this elbow. So this line you would not be able to see, and this line you would not be able to see from the front view. They are hidden behind the 90 itself. Okay, both those lines are hidden. So you wouldn't, because they're hidden again behind the 90s. All right, so you have to just keep in mind when you're doing these drawings, picture yourself right in front of the elbow, or the T as we get into it later on. And you have to understand the direction that they're going. These are going away from you. You're standing here, they're turning away from you. You're standing here, front view, they're turning away from you. So again, it's important to ask the three questions regarding every fitting. Is it coming towards me? Is it going away from me? Is it flat to my view? Again, if we're looking from the front, both of the 90s are going away from the viewer. If we look from the top, both the 90s are flat to the viewer. And you can see all the lines that are involved in the drawing, right? If you're up here looking down, even though it says top right here, that's your view. So you're up here. You can be anywhere you want up here. And the question is, can you see this line? Well, sure you can. There's nothing in front of it, nothing blocking it. Can you see this line? Absolutely. And can you see this line? Absolutely. So you can see the entire drawing from the top view. But from the side view, all we can see is a 90 going away from the viewer. So if you're standing here, you got your feet on the ground, you're up here, your head's here, you're looking dead onto this fitting. Question is, can you see this line? No, you can't. It's hidden behind this 90. You can only see the back of this 90. Can you see this line back here? No, you cannot, because you're standing here, it's hidden behind this line. These lines are on the same level. So this one is hiding this line. So all you can see is from this point to here. Come back. So here's your 3/4 of a rectangle. Let's bring this all back again here. So here's your 3/4 of a rectangle, and there's your 3/4 of a rectangle. So it's really not that difficult as long as you always revert back to this chart. So you need to have this piece of paper nearby, and in most of the PowerPoint videos, this will be here for you to look at and kind of figure things out. Pause it as you go if you have to, and try to figure out the drawings. So let's look at this one. We got 3 views here, so very similar to the one we just did, where we had 2 90s going away from us. But the big difference here is this one is now coming towards you. This one's going away. Remember the drawing we just did went like this, right? It was 3/4 of a rectangle. But what's happened in this drawing, we flipped the 90 and we've come out this way towards us. So you have to ask yourself the 3 questions regarding the fittings, and we'll start left to right. What's this 90 doing? Is it going away from you? Is it flat to your view, or is it coming towards you? This elbow is turned towards you. You're here looking this way. You're here looking right into it. So this is what the front view looks like. Now let me explain. This pipe is coming towards you, elbow directed towards the viewer. There it is. Circle with a dot in the middle of it. There it is there. Again, down the road, I'm going to teach you how to do this measurement. But it would be this pipe right here. Okay, and this measurement actually starts right at the dot and it ends at the end of the line. So they would have to match. Anyways, we're getting a rough idea of it here. So here's a 90 coming towards the viewer. There it is there. That dot represents, like if you had a piece of pipe and you cut it off and you looked right down inside it, it'd be black in the middle. Almost like if you're looking down a big tube or a slide or a tunnel. It's the same idea. Down here we have a 90 going away from the viewer. There it is right there. An elbow directed away from the viewer. Can you see this pipe? No. It's hidden behind a 90. Can you see this pipe? Technically no, because you got to keep in mind you're looking at these dead on, right directly into it, and all you would see is the dot. So you can't technically see this pipe. So what about the top view? Are these 90s coming towards us, going away from us? I mean, think about it for a second. Remember now I said from the top view, you're not necessarily looking right here. You're way up here looking at the whole picture. You're up here floating in the clouds, right? So, what do you think this is? What do you think this first 90 does? Or the second 90? Are either of them going up or going away from you? So there's a little bit of a hint. So these are the same view. The pictures have been rotated. And the reason is because from the top view only, you could hand me this drawing and someone beside you could hand me it drawn this way on a piece of paper. They're both correct. And then you could flip it one more time. You could flip it one more time. It would all be correct. Because from the top view, it's like you're floating in the sky. You're parachuting down and you're looking at this. Well, your feet could be here, your feet could be here, your feet could be here, or your feet could be up here. You could be anywhere circling this. Whereas from the front and the side view, your feet are planted on the ground. Okay, so I hope, we'll get into it a little bit more, but I hope that gives you an understanding from the top view. And then finally the side view. This is a little tricky, and I'm going to explain this one to you. But if you're standing at the side view, can you see this pipe? No. Can you see this pipe? Yes. Can you see this pipe from the side view? This is the tricky one. This pipe here, you can see it. Yes, you can. There's nothing here blocking it. It's wide open, right to it. So we'd have to draw this. We'd have to draw the 90 going away from us. We don't see this, but we have to draw this pipe here. And these lines are parallel, so they're going to just kind of run off of each other, just like that. So let me explain this to you. If we were to just look at this part right here, this is an elbow or a 90 going away from you, right? pipe comes along, turns away from you, there it is there. And because you're standing here with your feet on the ground and your head's up here, this is coming across in front of you, and this is exactly how you would draw it. You can't flip this, you can't turn it around, it has to be like this. So then we have this circle here, which reflects the back of that 90 elbow. So we know that we can't see this pipe because it's hidden right in the middle of this, but we can see this, and we can see the hub. So here's the pipe, and there's the hub. Okay, in theory, if we were to measure all this from here to here, would be from here to here. And from here to here would be from here to here. But we'll get into that a little bit later as we get a little bit more detail. What about this one? Let's do the same shape, but in an orthographic, okay? So we need to do the 3 views as always. It's every time there's going to be 3 views in orthographic, okay? So, cruising right along here. Let's start from the left to right. We're going to do the front view. Remember I said always start left to right, figure things out. So, your feet are on the ground, your head's up here, you're looking dead on to this whole thing. But from the front view, you can still move yourself up here, you move yourself down here, but you're still on the same front view. What's this first 90 doing? You're right here looking into it. Is this coming towards you? Is it going away from you? Or is it flat to you? What do you think? You're standing here looking right into it. So this is coming towards the viewer. You're looking right into the pipe. Okay. Then the pipe's going to come down. What's this here 90 doing to you from the front view? Is it coming towards you? Is it going away from you? Or is it flat to the viewer? Now we know this one's coming towards you. This is going off in a totally different direction. It's going to be flat to the viewer. And this final 90 right here. So let's move this, say we can move this arrow. Arrow's right here. We're looking right on the back of this 90. What's this 90 doing? Coming towards you, or is it turning away from you? Because we know this one's coming towards you. So this one's got to be going away from you. And here it is here. So if you want, you can always pause things at this moment, try and scratch it out on a piece of paper, freehand it, and see if you get close to it. Because here it is. The upper 90 we know is coming towards you, right? The bottom 90 we've already said is flat. And finally, the 90 on the right of the drawing is going away from you. Okay, so tackle it here. Same drawing with the side. We're going to walk through this a little bit. Let's start with the closest elbow. This is from your side view. What's this elbow doing now? Coming towards you, going away from you. This one's going away from you. Okay, so how about the next 90? Again, this is a side view. Can you even see this? You can't because it's hidden behind a 90 that we just talked about. So this 90 here, you can't see this pipe. And remember, we're dealing with the side view, right? Side view right now. All we can see is this line here at the back of this 90, but we can't see this line. But we can see this line, and we can see this line from the side view. And we can see this hub. Okay, keep that in mind. This one we can see. And what about the elbow at the top? Okay, so that one there. If you're looking from the side, what's this elbow doing? Coming towards you, going away from you? Is it flat to your view? Got it? The 90 is flat to the viewer. Okay. So, same drawing from the top. Let's start with the elbow on the left. What's this elbow doing? Coming towards you, going away. Is it flat to you? So you look yourself, picture yourself hovering up in the clouds, looking down on this thing. What's it doing? This 90 is going away from the viewer. Now how about this 90 from the top view? It's hidden behind a 90 we just talked about again. This 90 here is actually blocking the majority of this 90. From the top view here, looking down, we cannot see this line. But we can see this one, and we can see this one, and we see this 90. But we do have to draw this hub. Okay? So, what's this final 90 doing? It's flat to the viewer. And there it is there. Almost, it looks the same in all reality. Okay, so here we have that same drawing, and we have the 3 different views of it. So, let me just get this set. This here is the front view. We have a 90 coming towards the viewer. There it is. There it is there. This piece of pipe from the front view we can see, and there it is. Pipe then comes across. There it is. And this 90 is going away from the viewer in the front view. Right there. And there it is there. And all the hubs are visible from this view. Right? There, 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 and there are all visible. If we look at the side view, we're standing here, we got our feet on the ground, our heads up here, we're looking right onto this thing. Let's start down here. We have a 90 going away from the viewer. And there it is there. Pipe comes across in front of us. There's the back of the 90, and we can see this hub right here. We cannot see this line. It's hidden behind here. It's not drawn. You don't see it. Can we see this line here? Yes, we can. And there it is. So we can see this hub. It's right there. We can see this hub is right there. And we see this full 90 coming across. There's the hub, and there's the line coming across. So that's the side view. And keep in mind, if you're getting confused on this, slow down, pause the video, try to work it out, try to see the shapes and where we're coming from. Or if you want, hey, you could pause this at the very beginning and try to do some of these shapes, right, before I go through them. So the final one is going to be the top view. So looking down on this, and again, this top view could be rotated 4 different ways. So you might try these on your own, and yours doesn't look the same as how I've done it, but just spin your paper, and if you've done it right, at some point it's going to match up. So looking down on this, starting from the left, we have a 90 going away from the viewer. Right there, right there. This pipe coming down is hidden behind this 90, right? Right there. So you cannot see this line. It's underneath this 90. This 90 comes across. Here's the pipe coming across. You can see this hub. Okay. Then you have a flat T right there. And you just draw it like this. Okay. So hopefully you get the idea for this type of a drawing. It takes a little bit of practice, but for the most part, students get it pretty quick. Okay, so here's the top side. Okay, so let's take a look at one final one here. Let's draw these 3 views. Now these are very similar to what we've been doing, but there's always a little twist in every one as we go here. So how about we start with the front view? It'd be great at this point if you pause things, got a blank piece of paper, and just simply scratched out the drawing. You don't have to use a ruler. This is just for you to kind of plan out how you think this is going to look. So again, I start from left to right. You can do it any way you want to do it, as long as at the end we get the kind of the same results. So let's go over this a little bit. Starting here, again, this is the front view. Okay. And you're out here looking at it, you're looking directly into this. This 90 is coming towards you, so you're going to be drawing this. This line goes up, so this would be this line. So this whole drawing would be rotated. Okay, so this line would actually be up here, going up. From the front view, you can see everything here, so you would have to draw the line. And then here we have an elbow going away from the viewer. Because you're standing here, it's going away from you. Here it is there. From the front view, you would have to draw this hub, which would be there. The two hubs on the 90, because it's flat to the viewer, there and there. And then you would draw a 90 going away from the viewer, and you'd have to draw that hub. And that hub is right there. So there it is. That's what the first drawing looks like. Right? Simple 90 coming towards the viewer. I said you have to rotate the line up. There's the line up, right? Because you're standing here on your feet, your head's up here, you're looking at this, the line goes up. So you have to follow. The 90 then comes across in front of us here. So the line comes across like this to a 90 going away from the viewer. There's the 90 going away from the viewer. How about the top view? Take a second to look at it. Again, if you want to pause things to get a better perspective and take your time, by all means, I actually highly recommend it. So with top view, if we start here, we have a 90 going away from the viewer. There it is there. We can't see this line. We can see this line and we can see this line here. This 90 is flat to the viewer from the top view. Can we see this line? Yes, we can. And we can see this hub. And I think there's two different views. So again, these are the same drawings. The pictures have just been rotated, right? And it can rotate another 2 times. So let's look at it from here. This line here is this line here. This line you can't see because you're looking from the top down on top of it. This line is hidden behind this 90. This 90 comes across, right, where this from this point here, and then we have a flat 90. Right? Now, why do we go up this direction? Well, if this one's coming this direction towards us, this line is going the other way, so it's got to go up the other way. Okay. Finally, the side view. A little tricky maybe, but let's think about it for a second. Here we have a 90 going away from you. You cannot see this line. It's hidden behind the 90s. You can see this line, and you can see this line here too. So, what do you think? It's going to get a little tricky. You can see this hub, but you can't see this one. You cannot see this one, and you can see the rest of them. This is what the side view looks like. Pipe comes across in front of you, into a 90 going away from you. There's the 90 going away. You cannot see this line from the side view. It's hidden behind this 90. This pipe comes down. You can see this because there's no obstruction here, right? So you can see this line coming down, and then it just simply is a flat 90 in front of you, going across in front of you. Okay, so you can see both these hubs, and you can see this hub and this hub. Okay, so that's it for orthographic projection part 1. Please take the time to look at orthographic projection part 2. Thank you.